Hello and welcome to another week in our garden. Very hot and close today. The sun keeps coming out and going in, but it's so hot it's unbelievable. Now we're starting this week between the shed and the chicken up under the grapevine, because the grapevine's back onto full canopy again. It's lovely and cool under here. So we're going to do some work underneath the canopy a little while. Now I've reset the cauliflower, as you know, because the other one, it just blew in that bad weather. So I've reset some later ones. And I'm also going to set some more cabbage, kale and broccoli. The broccoli's come well in front again, so we'll reset. A little bit wrong time of year, but the year's all mixed up this year anyway, so I'm sure if I put seeds in today they'll be up. We'll keep them under this canopy where it's a little bit cooler, and they'll be up and away in no time. These are the three I'm going to set. There's kale, all three are hybrids, so there's kale, spring hero cabbage and some broccoli claret. They're all late croppers, so they might take us through to the spring as the plants that have blown would have done. But also the season's a bit wrong, so they'll be fine, I'm sure. Now the cauliflowers that I have set are both up. There's only 25 seeds, so I'll put them all in. There's no way trying to keep them through. And they're coming up nicely now. Watered them this morning, so they're growing well. There they are. They was up in no time at all. There's only 25 seed of each, and they're about 25 plants, so that's not too bad. Now we've been asked how we pot the runners on the strawberries, so I'll get 5 pots and 5 pins and we'll knit down and do that. Now we have been harvesting this week, and I'll get Diane to put the clips in so you can see what we've been harvesting. It's been a very busy week. Even Gemma came to visit, and we had Gemma harvesting raspberries and strawberries and potatoes and cabbage. And she also took some of the sweet peas because she's got a church to decorate, and said the sweet peas will give that lovely scent to drift about on while the services are on, while the wedding service is on. Now we've come down the garden. It is very hot, but I'm definitely going to lift these new potatoes in this frame. As I was saying before, I really need this frame for working up for the next crop, so I need to get these out. They are ready, so we'll get them out and we'll show you what we've got in here. Now, as you can see, they're definitely ready. They're getting quite large, and you just have to touch them and the skin comes off, so now's the time to get them out and get them used. Right, we'll take one more, just have a look, and then we'll get them lifted. Right, there we go. Oops. Again, they're quite large, look, for new potatoes, but they are really ready. There you are. So there's an handful for now. I'll have to dig down again to see. I'll lift the rest. I'm going to have to actually get in the frame because I'm actually knocking the fruit off the apple tree digging from here. So I'll get in, get them dug out and show you what we've got. Now these are the first early potatoes lifted we'd already had a few, but that's what we've got out of there mainly. They're called Rocket. They're absolutely perfect on the lift, nothing on the tops, and as you can see the tuber's perfect. Now some of the soil that's in this raised bed I'm going to take out and take up to the chickens where they bath, and also put a couple of barrow load in the pen as well for scratching. They love scratching through this sort of soil. It's lovely and lightish soil. There is a bug or two in it, so they'll be eating those as well. And then I shall replenish it with fresh soil, and then next week we'll put the carrots in. I'm actually putting them in with tapes because the old hands aren't so good for handling small seed anymore, so we're using tapes for the carrots, and we'll see how we get on with that. I've just nipped down to the brassica beds. I'm just going to take the tops off these brassicas. They are beginning to go over now, so we really need to get them off. So we've popped down and we're going to take them out. There's also a cabbage to cut, and I've already cut a cucumber on the way down, so we'll take them up to the shed and then show you what we've harvested. Now we'll have to take these cabbage off. As you can see, they're just beginning to open up because of the hot weather we've had. They're really coming on, so we'll get them now and then get them in the freezer. I think they're perfectly all right. Yeah, so I'll cut it off. So we'll get them cut off and get them in the cooler bit. It really is getting warm today. I've taken the heads off the calabrese. They will reshoot from the bottom, but the thing is now to get them covered up is because I have noticed one or two cabbage white butterflies about. The variety was Matsuri calabrese F1. Now we're also going to take that large cabbage out, but I noticed there's at least 6 or 7 ready, so we're going to have to see who wants a cabbage locally. Yes. Right, here it is. We'll take this one out. Bit of slug damage on it, but that's not too bad. So I'll pull it up and then we'll clean it off and have a look what we've got. Quite a pull. Knock the soil off, we don't want to take the soil with us. That's as good as. There you are. Quite a good cabbage there. As I say, a few holes in it, but that's no problem. That'll go to the compost heap. Let's clean him off and see what we've got. There you are, one very, very solid cabbage. I wasn't expecting these for at least 2 months yet, so we've got a lot of early cabbages now. They've not been irrigated, but the water's still coming out of them from that rain. Very nice cabbage that. Pleased with the cabbage, although it's a little early and there's a lot of them, but they'll do fine. Now we'll also harvest a few broad beans. As you can see, they're all showing well now, so we'll have a harvest off them. It sounds like the chickens are all having a set to at the moment, so I'll pick them and then I'll come back to you, okay? Right, now this is what we've picked of the broad beans. There's still plenty more to come, but we don't want too many, so we can do them in batches. Now remember to leave your roots in. That's because the roots are covered in little nitrogen nodules. I'll just show you one. I don't know if you can see this very well, but these little nodules, I've just broke a bit of the root off really, but if you see those little nodules, they're full of nitrogen that we need to stay in the soil. So leave your roots in, let them rot, and that will add nitrogen to the soil. I haven't got much of a root, but you can see there's quite a few on this little piece. So we'll have to do another pick As soon as Diane's got these blanched off and frozen, we'll probably be using some tonight as well. And then we'll do them in batches until we've cleared the bed. Now here's what we've picked this morning. We've got some red lettuce. We did actually picked a big green lettuce yesterday, but obviously that's gone up the house and been washed and is now in the fridge. That lovely huge cabbage, the calabrese, which is just on its limits now, but once they've been blanched they'll be fine. Another cucumber out the greenhouse, I picked that this morning. One or two scratches on it, but that's fine. And of course those lovely broad beans. Right, I have been setting some cauliflowers for later in the year. They'll be sort of late autumn, Christmas, spring. That's because my main cauliflowers this year failed, but we got the next batch in. Now it sounds like one of the chickens wants to go on a nest and there's one already on it, so you normally get that plucking when they're waiting to go on the nest. Now there she goes. She'll keep that up until she can get one of the nests. One of the others will be out soon and then she'll go in. Hello and good morning. Now we're starting slightly early today before the sun gets too high. We want to pick some of the fruit, especially the soft fruit, before the sun really gets on them. I've started with the raspberries. Now I'll pick the rest of these and then I'll show you what we've actually harvested today. We don't want them to get too warm, so we'll get them picked and get them in the shade where it's a little cooler. There's still quite a few to go and we're picking every other day now, so we're really getting some heavy crops this year. As you can see, they're lovely berries. Now we picked strawberries as well. Still quite a few with some mildew on from the rain, but we are clearing them now, so the next batch should be okay. Now there's the strawberries and the raspberries that we picked this morning. Nice and cool now, we've got them under the vine. Now we've popped into the fruit cage. The sun's gone in thankfully, so I won't be roasting. I usually have my hat on when I'm down here, but I've left it in the house just now. Now there's only 5 of these runners left that I want to do. That gives me around 30, which then grow them on for a year in those pots, and then we'll interplant them in the spaces and thicken them up. We lost quite a few with that mould, so we'll thicken that area up, and then by the following year they should be fruiting all right. The other thing I'll do is, when I've took these 5, I shall come down, take all the weeds out, I shall take all the other runners off the plants, and then make sure they're watered and looked after so they can get really built up for the winter, and then next year we'll have a better crop. Not too bothered about the tops at the moment because you can cut the tops off, which helps. But when this is finished cropping here, we let the chickens in and they actually peck at the tops of the strawberries. They quite like the strawberry tops, so they'll reduce the tops for me for the winter. Now there's 5, plenty of runners. There's runners everywhere coming off. These are the earlies, so I'm going to put the earlies into the square pot, and then the lates, when they start sending their runners, I'll put those into round pots so I can distinguish the two. Take out any weeds as you go. What I normally do, I just put my thumb in to make a hole on my finger, and you can see this runner here. Not really interested in that one, but that one's already started putting a root out, look. So just pop it in your pot, and then if you get a wire and make a pin and just put that behind it, just hold it down, and then that's ready for rooting. The thing is though, to keep coming down here now and again and giving them a drop of water, which always hardest part is to keep them watered. Another one here, look. There's no root, but it looks like it wants to root. That end is too far away, we don't want that. So we'll push that in and just put the clip behind it. And they will come to the same as the runners are coming off, and we know these are good strawberries because we've been eating them. Another one here, look. That one's just started to push a root down. Look. What they do, they push a root at the soil and then get in and then anchor themselves down. I'm trying to keep as possible close to one another because it makes watering easier. That'll be fine as a weed there. Look. So let's get the pin ready. And there, in it goes. So I'll just make a little hole. Take that one off. There you go. And just pin it in. Press it all down nice and tight. We'll water in a moment so that'll settle down. So let's do these 5. Where else have we got? Another one here, look. Little bit of root. So we use that one, we'll keep it in the line. There you are, you can go in there. Especially if your strawberry bed is getting a bit on the old side now, 5-6 years, you really want to be getting all these runners potted because that just gives you 2 years to replace them. This one, look, well rooted, we'll have that one. Just make a hole, got a white fly or 2 flying about. Pop it in. Now where's this clip come from? There, look. That's it. We'll water them in a minute and settle them. And then I just pop that in there to hold it down. And then I'll give them a drink. Compost is quite dry, so what I should do is water it now and then give it 5-10 minutes and then do it again. So there you are. If you've got some good strawberry plants that are cropping well and you're coming towards the end of their life, 5-6 years, you really need to be propagating because they are quite expensive. When you replace a strawberry bed, you need quite a few strawberries and they'll come at quite a cost, even bare root. Now that'll be it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed it and all those clips that Diane's put on of what we've been harvesting. It's been a busy week one way or another this week. Now next week we'll have the currants to harvest. I believe I'm just looking past Diane and I can see loads of red currants, white currants, black currants. Gooseberries are coming along nicely. Even the red gooseberries are colouring up now. I'll have to get Diane to taste one of the gooseberries to make sure they're ripe. Now that'll be it for this week. Many thanks for subscribing, we do appreciate it, and of course thank you for watching. So hopefully we'll see you next week. Bye now.